If you have ever waited for a PR invitation, you already know this system behaves like a mystery novel without a final chapter. Predicting cutoffs sounds simple until you try to do it. One month, the numbers sit quietly. The next month, they jump like they just drank 3 cups of coffee. So let's be honest from the start, PR points, predictions are not clean or perfect. They are educated guesses based on patterns, behavior, and government decisions that sometimes look like they were made during a lunch break. But difficult does not mean impossible. Think of it like forecasting the weather. You cannot stop the rain. You cannot argue with the clouds. But you can look at the sky and say, yes, it is definitely umbrella season. In skilled migration, the sky is made of EOIs, quotas, occupations, and state priorities. And the more we understand the weather system, the better we can predict what's heading our way. So before we start diving into numbers, charts, and points, remember this. You are not looking for a perfect prediction. You are looking for clarity. And clarity comes from understanding what drives the cutoffs behind the scenes. The 3 forces that move cutoff points. There are 3 big forces that shape every PR points cutoff. If these 3 were characters in a movie, they would be the ones silently causing drama in every scene. The first is demand, the number of applicants entering the pool. If your occupation is popular, you already know the competition is intense. Everyone around you is collecting points, taking English tests, and renewing EOIs like they are paying bills. High demand pushes the cutoff upward and keeps it there longer than anyone wants. The second is supply, the number of invitations available. When the government increases allocations, cutoffs relax. When allocations shrink, the cutoffs squeeze tighter. It is classic supply and demand, except the product on the shelf is your future. The third is occupation behavior. Some occupations attract a flood of applicants. Others attract a slow trickle. Some have national shortages. Others have more applicants than Australia can absorb in a decade. The stronger your occupation, the better your odds, even if your points are not sky high. Together, these 3 forces act like the global weather patterns of the PR system. You might not see them directly, but they drive everything. The reality behind rising and falling cutoffs. Let us talk about why cutoffs jump around. A lot of people imagine that the PR system follows a neat path, slowly increasing or slowly falling. In reality, it behaves more like a toddler who learned how to walk yesterday. 1 step forward, pause, fall sideways, stand up again, sprint, then sit down for no reason. The first reason is the volume of EOIs. When many people lodge EOIs at the same time, it crowds the system and pushes the cutoff higher. When fewer people lodge, the pressure drops. The second reason is test scores. Every cycle, thousands of people retake English tests because they want those extra 10 or 20 points. Superior English is the plot twist that can completely change someone's invitation timeline. The third reason is state activity. When states open rounds aggressively, many applicants get selected before even competing in the federal pool. This reduces pressure and sometimes drops the federal cutoff. The fourth reason is government policy changes. A shift in migration planning levels can shake the system like a sudden plot twist. One year the government prioritizes health. The next year it focuses on regional roles. The cutoffs reflect these changes instantly. So do not think of the cutoffs as random. They wobble because the inputs wobble. Clear predictions based on current migration patterns. Let us get into the predictions. Not fantasy predictions, not magical predictions. These are grounded in real behavior seen across multiple cycles. The first prediction is that high competition occupations will stay high. ICT, engineering, and accounting will keep their cutoffs elevated because the demand is massive. There are simply more skilled applicants than available seats. Next prediction is that niche occupations will continue seeing lower cutoffs. Trade roles, aged care, hospitality, and certain medical fields will likely have smoother invitations. Their shortage levels are too deep for high cutoffs to remain. For the third prediction, states will continue to behave unpredictably. Some will open early and aggressively. Some will open late and cautiously. This means your points cutoff is influenced not just by the federal system, but also by the state you choose to target. Also, English scores will remain one of the biggest separators. People who push their scores to superior English will keep jumping ahead of others. If your points are low, this is the easiest lever to pull. Lastly, stabilization is likely. We may not see a dramatic fall or a dramatic rise. More of a gentle balancing as Australia adjusts its skilled migration priorities. These predictions are not built on hope. They are built on what has been consistently happening over the last few invitation rounds. Strategies people use to beat cut-off trends. Predictions are nice, but strategies are what actually change timelines. So here are the realistic moves that applicants use to tilt the system in their favor. When it comes to improving your chances, the smartest approach is to squeeze every possible point out of your profile. That means looking at partner skills, pushing your English score higher, claiming all valid work experience, and making sure your education details are correctly reflected. A single point can be the difference between an invitation this year or another long stretch of waiting. So nothing is too small to matter. For many people, a regional pathway can also be a game changer. Not because someone on the internet said it is magically easier, but because regional occupation lists tend to be broader and often less crowded. These pathways regularly open doors for applicants who struggle in the federal pool, especially in occupations with stubbornly high competition. Flexibility with state options is just as important. Each state has its own personality. Some prefer offshore candidates, others focus on those who are already onshore, and a few target very specific occupations. Being open to several states instead of locking yourself into one dramatically increases your chances. Keeping your EOI updated works in your favor as well. Every time you add points, experience, or a new English score, you move higher up the ladder. An outdated EOI is like a forgotten profile that slowly drifts downward without you noticing. Finally, understand how your specific occupation behaves in the system. Highly competitive fields require extra effort and strategic thinking because average points rarely cut it. You need to know what you are up against and build your profile accordingly. The mindset that keeps you sane during PR predictions. Let us talk about the part nobody teaches. The mindset. Waiting for invitations can turn calm people into amateur investigators. Some refresh SkillSelect every hour. Some stalk forums like they are researching a master's thesis. Others check their emails so often that their phone battery begs for mercy. This stress makes people desperate. Some switch occupations in a panic. Some move states overnight based on rumors. Some trust random advice from strangers who use cartoon profile photos. Here is the truth. Panic will never give you a better outcome. Panic will only make you take shortcuts that backfire later. You cannot control how many people lodge EOIs this month. You cannot control how many seats your occupation receives. You cannot control when a state decides to open its migration program. But you can control your points. You can control your readiness. You can control your strategy. And you can control your ability to stay focused when everyone around you is spiraling.